Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the J Talks Today's Relationships Show. All right, I'm your host, and we also got from DC. Who we got? Who do we have? Lady K?
Hey.
Oh, all right. all right, Lady K. All right. Well, we got the 2-0 here. All right, we're going to be the ones that's going to be with y'all, just giving you all an update. And you all are going to be seeing some changes on the J Talks Today's Relationship Show. It's eventually going to be changed to J and K Talks Today's Relationship Show. J and K Talks Today's Relationship Show. All right? So y'all be looking for that.
Right.
All right? I know everybody's trying to figure out what happened to Sister Soldier and Ricky Rick. Well, let's say that they're going on some long vacations. All right.
It's gonna be J and K.
J and K. All right, that's coming up, and we're still going on to FM, y'all. Okay, so there's a whole lot of things that's getting ready to happen. We're moving on up. We're blowing on out. Okay. So today's topic is going to be: has the date night, has it ended? Is it dead? Is date night really dead? We're going to talk about how to put the flame back into the relationships.
Because you gotta have that date night. You gotta have that date night. You gotta make time, for each other and keep it fresh. We all adults and we're busy. We have busy lives. You got work. You got kids. You got church. You have club groups. You have sports. And your life can get extremely hectic. And the one thing that you have to remember in your relationship is that even though your life is hectic, you still got to take time to water that relationship and water that flower. And that's why date night is so important. Jay, you asked the question, is it dead? Well, for some people it is dead. So that's like that dead flower sitting in your windowsill. If you just pour a little bit of water on it, it'll spring back to life. It may sprout new life. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So you gotta maintain that. You gotta take time out for just the two of you, away from everything else. If it's just a trip to the movies, for me and my boo, sometimes it's just a car ride, because life can get that bad, but we still take time out for one another.
That's right. Like they say, what it took to get them, you might as well keep it on up. Yep. So sometimes, yeah, you do have to do that. Like you said, just a ride. Some people just go riding around a couple of blocks just so they can get out of the house.
Especially when you got a house full of people.
Yeah. Because you know how the story is. I didn't used to see 4 walls when we met. Why I'm seeing 4 walls 2 or 3 years later. I mean, is that all we got now? 4 walls and a TV?
That's it. And him sitting in the chair like Al Bundy, never his summer with his hands come down his pants. And she's sitting on the other end of the chair like Peggy Bundy.
Mm.
Filing her fingernail trying to figure out how to spend his money.
How to spend it? I thought he was trying to keep from spending.
But you know what's crazy? Even about that show, Al still made time for Peggy.
Mhm.
They still did do things together, you know. But, you know, date night should be something that's set aside. I've talked with a lot of different people, and one person, he's a doctor, and he straight up said, every Friday night is date night. Him and his wife. That's the time that they dedicated, set aside to be together to do something together every Friday night.
All right. Do something together, no matter what it is, right?
No matter what it is. I mean, even like me and my boyfriend. Okay, our lives got really, really crazy at one point in time. Work, 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 work. And our spot was IHOP. And Friday night was our night. And there were a couple of nights, it was late, like 10, 11, 12 o'clock. And he'd be like, we still going to IHOP?
Right.
I was like, yep, let's ride.
I can hear you now getting in the car. Ride or die, ride or die.
Hey, blueberry pancakes, blueberry pancakes. But, you know, and it's like, it made it fun. It was something to look forward to, even though you can be dog beat tired. But if it's something that you're really looking forward to, that one-on-one time, it's like you said, it sparked that match, you know? Yeah. And it really lit that fire because I was tired, but I still wanted to be with him, and I still wanted to go to IHOP, and trust and believe, I still had a good time.
Right. You know, as I think about it, I was just listening to you when you were saying, you know, do something, anything together, no matter what, on Friday nights or whatever, sitting that time, that period, and I couldn't help it, but I had to think about, you know, church folk, and you know, of course, most people have a Monday through Friday job. Some, you know, have some irregular hours or days, but for the most part, the basic amount of people is Monday through Friday, and then you have the weekends. And but I was thinking about church folk when you know, if they both are working Monday through Friday, then they have the weekend, of course. You know, you got your Sunday rituals, and for those that 7-day Adventists, they got their Saturday, so it's kind of opposite. But then you got some that has that weekend on a Friday night, and then got to come back either on a Saturday or a Sunday. So now they down to almost like a 1 day, a 1 day to be able to do something. And well, I'm just saying a whole 1 day. I know you could pull a few hours here and there, maybe, you know, even during your work week, just to set aside some time to go on a date. I mean, a date don't have to take all day long, you know. It don't take 24 hours to do a date. So
it could be something, and like you said, something as simple as just taking a ride out. Yeah. I mean, just taking a ride out. It's time that you set aside for just the two of you.
Yeah, that's right.
To do something together, interactive. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Not. Some people might say, well, date night is movie night. Okay. Yes, you're sitting in a theater, but you're together when you're in a theater. There's no outside distractions. It's just the two of you. You know what I'm saying? That's what matters. It's that you focus on the two of you during that time. You know, church folk, yes, your schedule can get hectic, extremely hectic. But the thing is that you still want your relationship with your significant other, with your partner to grow. You know, your relationship should never become stagnant, but it should standing still. It should always be growing. It should always be moving like a current of water. It should always be flowing. It should never be stagnant, because if something stops flowing or sits still, it becomes dirty, corrupted. It becomes something that you do not wish to have, or you shouldn't wish to have. So date night, we say date night, but you know what I mean when I say date night, it's a period of time where the two of you are together. It's something to be utilized just to keep that connection. Sometimes as parents, especially when you have children in your house, it's hard to focus on your partner or your mate, because your children take up a lot of your time. And the mate can get lost in the shuffle of all of that. You know, you're so focused on raising your children and your family that you lose focus, you lose sight of your partner. And I use the word partner in this instance because that's what the two of you are to each other. Your partner. A partner is someone that you work with.
Right.
And in a relationship, it's work. You know, everybody tell a relationship is easy. They're not being upfront and truthful with you. It's work. It's a partnership.
Yeah, that's right. It's a partnership.
And in order to maintain that, you got to have great communication. You got to be able to relate to the person. And if you lose sight of that person because you're too busy, how are you going to relate to that person?
Yep, that's right. I agree with you. Yeah, it is. It's totally work. I when you were talking about that partnership, it made me think about something, and I know it's going to seem like I'm going a little bit away um, from the show topic, but it's not. Partnership thing. I tend to notice what a lot of people tend to say in these dating sites and profiles, especially the women, but the men say stuff too. Don't get it twisted. Yeah, the men be saying a bunch of stuff too. But I do hear this one with the ladies. They be saying stuff like, you know, I'm looking for my king, and I'll be your queen. You know, and I just be wondering, when they be saying they're looking for the king, and I'll be your queen. Um, Many times, what I be saying about that is that if you really want a king, what does a king do? I mean, really, when you look at a king in their position, a king rules, a king conquers, and a king demands. And I'll be wondering. I mean, is that what they really be wanting? Is a king in their life to rule them, to make demands out of them, and conquer them? Because those are the three primary functions of a king. And instead of a partner, as you said, a partner that, when you think of partnerships in business, you have they have different roles. No matter, you can have several partners in the business, but where that person is in the partnership and what they do best, they do that part best, and the other person does their part best, and they do their best part in working together to make that company prosper and come and be to its fullest function as possible. So they work together and they work side by side, trying, it's best not to overstep the other one's position. So, I really kind of looked at that, and and getting back to that partnership, like you were saying, partners, and if you really have a good partner, then partners can work together and spending that time and getting into the date and all that. It's really um, to have that partnership in your relationship. And I think sometimes we lose that partnership in our relationships, and that's part of the reason why the focus on the dating is not as it used to be. Yeah. So, I don't know. What do you think about partnership, Lady K? All right. I don't know. Did I lose you? All right. All right. Well, I think I may have lost her. Uh, I think I may have lost her. Well, let's see if we can get her back online.
Okay. Well, partnerships. Hmm. I really feel like in a relationship, it has to be a partnership. Not just as couples. Because pretty much we're talking about couples tonight. So it needs to be a partnership where each person feels valued. Each person feels as though, they can contribute or that they are contributing to the relationship. Um, Partnerships are the best types of relationships because there's give and take. It's not always one person doing something. It's not always the other person doing something. Each person brings their own individualisms, their own individual talents, their own individual values to a relationship. And it's great when you find someone that knows and meshes with. It's so important that, you communicate with the person. And I always go to God, man, Lady K knows the real communication. And I do. I love the real communication because without communication, you have a lot of issues. And when it comes down to partnership, you cannot have an effective partnership without communication.
Right.
You can have a partnership, but how effective is it?
Mm-hmm.
Is your relationship, as I stated earlier, is it moving forward? Is it flowing like a current? Or is it stagnant? Um, when I think of partnerships, I think of people that work together. And like I said, relationships are work, but they work together. They collaborate. They are cooperative. They are accommodating. Not saying that to be accommodating you have to be someone's footstool. No, but in every relationship slash partnership, there's a certain level of accommodation that you should really want to make in order to um, help meld and mesh that combination because the other person is going to be accommodating as well, or they should be, in order for it to be a true partnership. But I think that partnerships slash relationships are essential um, in our lives and in our society. Um, insofar as if they not there, without that collaborative partnership, your date night is dead. Because you're not trying to work on it. You're not trying to work at your relationship. You know what I mean, Jay?
Yep, I understand. Yep, I really do understand. Yeah, I agree with everything you just finished saying. Yes. And just to get back to that, in the partnership, as I was saying a little earlier, um, that might be a little bit of a reason why some of the dating has gone down because I think we have lost in our relationships that partnership, being able to work together. It seemed like we um those relationships that was healthy in the beginning, that partnership may have been there. Maybe sometimes we might as in the beginning, if we're doing the impressing thing, so we're willing to be like that partner. And as time went on, um, maybe the sometimes the real person steps out, and you don't have that type of partner that you thought you might have had. I mean, there are so many variables that have happened in today's times in dealing with relationships. Um, but if you can find that real partner that's willing to go all the way, who's not trying to impress in that, I mean, that's who they are naturally. And you remember, we say this all the time on the show. There are signs. There will be signs. Should be able to see the signs at all times. So we do say that quite often. Pay attention to the signs. You'll get to see who the real person is. Okay. Um, and but in the date night, as we said, is date night dead? Um, you did mention earlier there were all different types of ways to go out dating, and it doesn't necessarily mean that got to go out to dinner, because money is but you go out to dinner or go out to some type of activity or entertainment place, because today's time money is kind of tight with a lot of people, so that there are even some things that you could do as a date at home. um, and because just think back when you were beginning to date, were there some things that you actually did on your date that you didn't even step outside of the home or the house? So many times we can uh we can find ourselves um uh not recognizing what uh not really recognizing what a real date is, and everything. So we'll uh well, we can, well, sometimes we just find ourselves just really going through all kinds of changes, and we have to go through some things, and just really come to a sense of where we really are with our mates. So but here's what I do suggest. I suggest that when we do uh, come in contact with our mate, and we sit down, we talk to them about it, and we sit down and talk to them about it, and as to what we're going to do um, in the relationship, what we should look forward to in the future of the relationship. I think those things really do need to be set down and talked about in the early part of the stages of the relationship. Um, then waiting till it gets to that point, that dry moment, and then say, you know, get to that dry moment and then say, well, something's going wrong. It's not going as I expected. I believe we should put all that on the table in the very beginning. What would be your expectations of the relationship?
Why you have to say a dry moment?
Yeah, dry moment. And sometimes you get
like saying a pregnant pause.
It almost get to where you think the well done dried up.
But you know what? It's so true. But you know what though? Also, when you said that, I thought about something. Some people may feel like if you put it all on the table, so to speak, at the beginning of a relationship, you're going to scare the other person off. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
But my point is this. If you scare that other person off, they had no intention of sticking around for the long haul anyway.
Mm.
Okay? If they don't want to talk about what they want, what their expectations are, then maybe, Jay always says, there's a sign. Maybe they're not ready for the type of relationship that you may want.
Said maybe they're not ready.
Maybe.
Right? Just maybe.
Maybe they're not ready. Because if you start talking about, I expect my man not to cheat on me, to we live together to contribute, and things start going,
Yeah, that's right.
Maybe.
Just maybe.
That's not the person for you.
Uh-huh.
Because you never know up front what you expect. Lady K, let him know up front. I'm not about no foolishness. I'm not going to chase you. I don't want to be chased.
I want a date.
To kind of flow together.
I want a date every Friday night.
I want a date. I want to go to IHOP.
At least once a month. At least once a month.
We go to IHOP. I lie to you not. We go to IHOP at least twice a month. At least twice a month.
Okay, at least twice a month.
At least twice a month. Now he's stuck on Chinese food.
Oh.
So we found this nice little place. And you can find some interesting little spots. You just ride around and look. It's a little spot in the cut.
Now
they got great food.
Now, you know what? Now I'm gonna put a little twist on this one. See, we've been just mainly talking about what the man could be doing for the woman. Let's get the other side's perspective. Now, what a woman could do, that it's just date night just doesn't always have to rest on the man now, making it happen. You know what I'm saying? Because, a man like to be impressed too and like to have it,
Ladies, I'm going to tell y'all how to do it.
Oh, you going to tell them how to put the flame in it, huh?
I'm going to tell you how to do it. All right. You find out what he likes, right? Like my boo like hockey. Okay? I have never been interested in hockey. But because he likes hockey, I get hockey tickets and surprise him with them. You find out things that he's interested in. And honestly, it brought new experiences to me. You feel me?
I feel you.
So you do little things. Just like I give him cards, I give him flowers, and he'll say to me, I'm the man, I'm supposed to give you flowers. But in the same instant, it's so good to me to see the smile on his face because it was a surprise.
Surprise.
A surprise. I was like, it's cool. Ladies, it's okay to shower your man with presents.
I tell you, what's a good surprise for me? Give me a pack of gummy bears when I ain't expecting it. Boy, I tell you pop up with a bag of gummy bears, my teeth is all show.
I mean, that's just like, he'll pick me up for work, and he'll be like, where do you want to go? And I'll be like, I want Lebanese food. And we go. I mean, the thing is that, you got to find little things, little ways, and not always the way that you spend a lot of money. Like I said, I buy him cards. I know that he loves a particular brand of bottled water. Simple things that will put a smile on his face. He loves soccer. I bought him a soccer jersey. He was surprised I had it delivered to the house the day I was having foot surgery. So, yet again, he was surprised. Little things.
Okay.
Little things. He likes the Beatles. Go to Amazon.com. You try to find him some Beatles stuff. It's little things you can do. He likes home cook food, ladies. Ladies,
Mm.
you know, hey, get in that kitchen.
Just make sure you can cook.
Make sure you can cook. Make sure you're a clean cook.
Yeah.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
Make sure you're a clean cook.
Yes,
You know? And I'm gonna tell you something else for the male athlete, boys, girls, and sports and things like that. I'm gonna tell you that makes him real happy.
Oh, what's that? Tell the secret. Tell it.
He in there watching the football game.
Uh-huh.
Don't bother him. Fix him a snack and leave him alone.
All right.
Let him watch that football game in peace. And if you're smart, you sit down. Now I'm gonna tell you, and be quiet. Put you in the room with him, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Not being like soccer, like I said. I'll watch it, but I don't love it. You feel me?
Uh-huh.
So while he's sitting there watching soccer, I'm on the phone watching a video or whatever, the earphones, and I'm still with him in the room. I still see the game. He sees the game. He's happy. I'm happy. We together. Everything is all good. Everything is great.
All right.
The most important thing is find out what he likes. Find out what he likes. And then shock him here and there with that. But the sports thing, the football season coming up, ladies, that really works. They love that. Just them a nice snack. And let them watch their football in peace. In peace.
In peace.
In peace. Don't ask him a bunch of questions. You know what his favorite team is. Now this is something, I know it's a little bit out of section, but it's something that has to be said. You know what that man's favorite team is. Why? Do you wait until the Sunday when they're playing on national television to decide you want to go somewhere or you want to do something? That's not right. And that's not going to put the flame back in the relationship. That's going to throw some water on it.
That's going to throw some water on it?
That's going to throw some water on it. So that's the shame. And I know females that do that on purpose. And I'm like, wow. Because he pays more attention to the football team than he do to me. I said,
She said,
So they do it. I said, really? Because they wait until they know that his team is playing on a Sunday night. Or a Monday night. They matter. National television. They know his team is playing, and that's the time they decide they want to go do something. That's not right. So you can't compete with football. And if you feel the need to compete with football, you got other issues. Mm-hmm.
Wow. Wow.
You don't know the females that do that?
Well, I guess I can't really say on that one because, I mean, I like football. I'm just not just some fanatic over football. So, I'm not really in that kind of position to really say on that on that question. But if there were some brothers out there that's listening, they could call in on the show 931-220-7063. We love to hear what you have to say on that. All right.
Yeah, they would say, Lady Clinton is on it. She said it. That's it. That's right. My woman do that all the time. She want to come in there and crash it around when I'm trying to watch football.
But I'm going to take your word. I do believe what you're saying is absolute correct. Based on what I hear a lot of guys say, I wish you would leave me alone. Let me watch my football game.
I'm telling you, it's just 2 hours, ladies. Just let him have his game. Let him have his game. But when he gets through, he'll be ready to play your game. Believe that. Especially with team win.
Yep, she could come out there with his favorite team jersey on.
It's I mean, the football season starting up. It's gonna be real special, Joe. I feel like, you're gonna get a whole lot of comments about people, from females mainly, saying, who love the game more than me. Because with a lot of people, football is very serious.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Very serious. But, if he loves it, you knew that when you met. I'm sure you had that conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm thinking about that though, Jay. When people first meet, maybe what do you think? This is good. What are the top 5 things you think people I do this way. What are the top 5 things you think that a man will ask a woman on his first date?
The top 5 things that a man would ask a woman on the first date.
Mm-hmm. And I'll let you know if those top 5 are on the woman's top 5 for the male's side.
Okay. My belief is that it would be how much if the woman likes them. Now, I do got to get a little clear.
No, we're not going to ask the man that. But go ahead.
No, you said what the woman would ask the man. Or what the man would ask the woman.
You're going to say what you think what you think the man will ask the woman.
Okay, what the man would ask the woman. Okay.
And then I will let you know if that's something that a woman would ask a man.
Oh, okay. Well, I believe the man would. One of the things I see most men asking a woman out on a date, they doing this checkup to try to see if the woman is still liking them, or if they like them or into them. They be it's kind of seem like it's some kind of insecurity check for some reason. That's one of them. Number 2, now this is going to be a little debatable. Either before the date, or, going into the date, and sometimes even after they pick them up, where you want to go. I know, but a lot of times it's for some reason it's after they picked them. They be like, "Hey, can you reserve Friday night for me? Because I want to take you out." They pick them up and they're like, "Where you want to go?"
Oh my goodness!
I believe you might have somebody that might agree out there.
Okay. What's another one?
Okay. Let's see. Number 3, asking out on a date. This gotta really goes along with but I guess it's not separate because it would fit. I was gonna say, wait, do you want it? Are you hungry? Do you want anything to eat? But that kind of goes along with number 2, so I can't use that one. Let's see. Ooh. I'm trying to think what guy. I'm trying to get outside of myself. I'm trying to think what guy. What I hear most guys say. Cause let's see. Cause see, Jay's a different. They call me. I think what would probably be a third one. Out on a date, I've heard guys ask the woman, how do they, if they accept the way that they're dressed, how do they like their dress? The way they're dressed? Yep. Yep. How you like my outfit? Yep. I've heard guys say that quite often. Yep.
Really?
Mhm. It's that goes back to that being accepted thing, that
Insecure.
insecurity. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um.
Uh,
Uh. So that would be my number three. Um. Number four. Now this one probably should have been number five, but I'm gonna put it at number four since it's on my head, on top of my head right now. Is when at the end of the date, and that's that question: will you go out with me again? Will we have another one? Can I see you again?
oh,
uh, back to that insecurity thing. I mean, I mean that confirmation. Yeah, I see a lot of guys doing that one, or I've heard several women say that that's what many guys have said. And I won't respond to what some I've heard some women say about those guys. Um, let's see. Number five. Woo, boy, you testing my trivia skills really bad here. Um, number five. Let's see. I'm glad I'm not on Family Feud. I would have got the buzzer by now. I might need to pull in and put in for a lifeline and call up.
Oh wow. They don't do lifelines on Family Feud.
I know.
That's a shame.
Let's see here. Yeah, they just huddle up. Um, that number five will be uh. Let's see. I'm gonna go with this one because I've heard some say that. I said not a lot, but I've heard some guys say that when they picked up the woman, uh, though they've been knowing them for a while, it's like they make this special effort to have the car all cleaned up and everything. They be like, "How you like my ride?"
Oh wow. You know, that list is very interesting to me.
Uh-oh.
Because on the flip side, female side, it's a little different. I don't know if it's because we know business minded. And that I hear, what do you do? They want to know what do you do for a living. They get you to talk about yourself.
Well, I didn't think about that one though, but yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
What do you do?
Mm-hmm.
And then, do you have any kids? That's very important.
I didn't think about it. See, I don't be asking them questions, so
that one is extremely important because yet again, you get them to talk about themselves. Mm-hmm. Now, if they start talking, like if their whole demeanor change, like yeah, I got kids, my baby mama crazy, blah blah blah.
Oh, you talking about this is what the women are asking the men, right?
Right.
Okay.
All come out in the wash.
Right. But that when you said about the kids, though, I know you're on number two. Men do be asking the women because they want they trying to look at their record, like yeah.
You got the kids.
Yeah, first, and this is really true. I mean, like it or not. I mean, since you put it up there, I guess that you put that on number 6 for me. But like it or not, this I do know about quite a good number of men. They ask that question because when they hear how many kids, you're gonna know for sure there's gonna be a part 2 to that question based on how many kids. And if it's over 2 or 3, the next thing is gonna be how many daddies. Okay. Yeah. All right.
Mm-hmm.
But they try. They be trying to look to track the woman's life as to how
Your
many
track record.
men. Yeah, try to figure out how many men been in this woman's life based upon the kids. All right.
Your track record. They
Mm-hmm.
be looking at that female track record online.
Mm-hmm.
But you
All right.
know what?
Yeah.
Women doing the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Doing the same thing. We ask a guy how many kids you have. You hoping he say one or none. If you hear numbers like 3, 4, 5, you're
15.
like, oh. You know, you're hoping to hear a low number. When you get above 3, you know, you kind of like, and then what's funny is the guys, you know, a lot of women have said this. They'll be like, you know, I had my first when I was real young. Like that one don't count. But it's true. And then, let's see, I'll go number 2. Then they ask about, what do you do for a living? So they want to know if you got money. Okay, here's the next one. Well, do you live by yourself? Do you own your home? Have an apartment, roommate? You want to know about their home environment, because if this man still living at home, which not saying that some people live at home with their mothers because they happen to take care of their elderly parents. That's fine. We talking somebody that never left from birth. And you've been living with your mama all your life. Never went out on your own. Never stepped out on your own.
You know, that's interesting.
Never signed a lease in your name.
You know, that's interesting because that I do talk about that in the first chapter of my book. And that chapter is titled "The Choice to Leave the Nest." All right. But anyway, you're right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. But like I said, though, now I understand. Some men do live at home with their elderly parents to help take care of them, and that's fine. Men, you strong. Thank you, because your parents took care of you. That's fine. But if you've been living at home out of the birth canal and ain't never left, one eyebrow gonna go up, and obviously my mouth is gonna drop open on one side. I'll be like,
And still got the little toy train on the chest of drawer.
You still sleeping in the same bed you slept in when you were 2. With them Star Wars sheets. We're not doing that. We're not doing that. Star Wars sheets and a picture of Michael Jordan on the back of the door playing basketball when he played for the Bulls. We're not doing that.
Now, wait a minute. Now, I got an interesting question. Now, just an interesting question. All right. Now, would the focus be different for an adult woman who's never left home and still with mama?
Same thing. Same thing. Because most men, I got brothers, and I talk to everybody. You know that. I talk to men and women. Most men are looking for a woman that has some sense of self and some sense of independence. And, you know, if she's never left home, it's like mom and daddy took care of me, men said me to take care of me. So, yeah, I mean, men look at it the same way. If she's still living at home with her parents, and her parents, she's working, and this is something that gets me. I wish somebody could please call into the show and explain this one to me. Why do parents have a grown child living at home, working, driving a car, better than yours, wearing clothes more expensive than yours, going out to very expensive places, taking really nice vacations, and they are grown, living at home, under your roof, making a grown person's salary. I don't understand that. So if somebody can explain that to me, please call in. Jay, what's the number?
931-220-7063.
And help me out, please, because I don't understand that one.
Y'all help her out. Help her out.
I don't understand that one. I see these grown people living at home, and they got as much going on, and mom and dad is still struggling. I don't understand that. So somebody, if you don't want to call, we have an email, we have a blog. Yeah. Please help us out. Help me understand that. Because that I don't get. Okay, so next on my list. What women want? We asked about your kids, we asked about your occupation, we asked about your home environment. Okay. The next thing we're going to ask you about is what do you do in your spare time? And that gets back to my original point about the sport. That's when we find out all your little extracurricular likes and dislikes. And then the last thing on the list is we pay very close attention to what you're playing in your car radio. Now, I'm not a Christian, yes I am, but I still like my R&B. Nothing wrong with a little R&B. Okay? I don't think I'm going to go to jail for that.
No, there's nothing wrong with R&B.
No, but if I hear, no offense, but it's just not my flavor, folks. You can call in, whatever. It's just not my flavor. If I hear all that rap, that Jay-Z, all that rap, that Snoop, I don't know who's out there anymore because I'm that old. I don't listen to it. I don't like it. If I hear all of that and you know every word, I'm looking at you with a side eye. You might not be able to know. You know, I'm like, oh, so you like that. We pay very close attention to what you listen to on the radio, believe it or not. More so than what clothes you have on. Because clothes you can change, but you like your music is your personal taste, and more than likely that will not change.
Oh, so now you got some women. Now you got some women listening to paying attention to the music that they be jamming on, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, we listen to that. We sure do.
Yeah, when they got all the cussing and the talking
about women,
you're disrespected and all the body parts and everything else.
And you sitting there, you know every word, you just bouncing to it. I'll be like, and there's your sign.
Now what
if these women would sing it, if these women would sing about it, what's to stop them from using those words to talk to you?
Now what about the woman if she up there singing every one of the piece of the lyrics?
Same difference.
Oh.
We're like, I mean, if that's your thing, that's your thing. But if that's not your thing, and y'all know what songs we're talking about, you know.
So it might be telling a little bit of something about them, huh?
A little something. All she might be dressed to the nines, but got a little bit of hood in there.
All right.
Just a little bit. Just a little bit. Isn't that next week's show? Trashy and Classy?
Yep, that's next week, so.
Ooh, I can't wait for that show.
Trashy and Classy. That's
what
right.
What you wear tells a lot about you.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
But that's my top 5, and in all actuality, I hear a lot of them saying the same thing. Because a lot of times, like it or not, ladies, yes, we're looking for security. Not necessarily total financial security, and we want to know that if something were to happen to us, that he'd be able to catch that ball and roll with it. You feel me? It's always nice to build together, but you always want to know that in case anything happens, this person has the wherewithal, the mindset to keep it going.
Yeah, you're right.
You know, I mean, a lot of women could get mad at that. I don't look for a man for security. I can support myself. Well, that's wonderful for you, darling.
Mm-hmm.
But I always say 2 incomes are better than 1.
Yeah.
I can do it by myself, but we can do it better together.
Well, there's a lot of things that we can do better together if you're a partner.
That's right. If you're a partner.
If you're a partner, that goes back to that partnership. Because partnerships, the two work together, different areas, but still work together.
That's right.
They come together. When it comes to that money, they come together. Both of them blend their monies. But when it comes to function, they're in different areas in their function, and they do it as best as possible to make the whole thing work great. And
that's right.
And that's in businesses that are partnerships, you look at them, those that work well. That means that are up on tops. They got, I mean, the Dow is saying that they way up in the pluses. I mean, this is a reason why they work well together.
They work well together, and that's just like, okay, I'm gonna drop this science on some ladies. All right, let's say y'all not married and y'all living under the same roof. Why do you expect that man to pay every single bill in the house? If one person catching the rent, why can't the other person catch everything else? Because at the end of the day, it's an equal distribution. Primarily.
Mm-hmm.
You feel me? There are some people go into it saying, I want, 50-50, even in a roommate type situation, I want 50-50 all the way down the line. Okay. 50-50 all the way down the line. But understand this, stuff is going to fluctuate. But it can be a collaborative relationship because it's a different type of relationship. A roommate is a type of relationship. You're sharing your living space with this person. As long as you're working together towards a one goal and everybody keeps up their part of it, it's all good. But if one person is slipping, it's not so good. And it causes a ripple effect, and it affects everything in your house. From your harmony to your finances to everything. Everything gets jacked up. If there's no collaborative, cooperation, partnership in the house. Am I right?
That's right. All right. Partnerships. I mean, you have to keep it going. I mean, once you enter into partnerships, it's best to keep it up, to keep it going. If you want to see a future, if you want to prosper in your relationship, it's best to keep the partnership function up and keep it active. I mean, because once somebody is actually really slacking, like you said, it will affect the business of the relationship. It will affect
I like that, the business of the relationship. I like that. Because that's how some people actually been looking at it that way. It's all nice to have warm fuzzies and little hearts and little cupids and little tushies and arrows and all of that, and it's great.
Mm-hmm.
But it's more to relationships than the warm fuzzy stuff. It's the more concrete stuff. And those types of things have been known to destroy relationships. Relationships have been destroyed behind finances.
Yeah.
Relationships have been destroyed behind, well, why am I paying this high electricity bill? I didn't use all this electricity. You know what I'm saying? Relationships have been destroyed behind, I didn't order all this pay-per-view. It's been destroyed behind money and finances. And I don't know if it's from lack of understanding or if it's from someone, one person in a relationship overextending themselves. But like Jay said, once it's a ripple, it's a serious ripple. And a way to avoid that is, like we always say on the show, communication. Communication is the key. Communication is the key. Is date night dead? I don't think so. I think more people need to actively pursue that time and dedicate that time to their partner. That's a time for you to come together to talk, to relate to one another, to if there's anything going on, to put it on the table. I mean, it's a time for some open honesty, just openness. It can also be a time to just enjoy peace and solitude with one another. If everything else around you is crazy, that should be the calm in your storm. And honestly, I look forward to it because I live in a hurricane sometimes, a lot of times. And I look forward to my calm and my storm. And the thing about it is that no matter what's going on, and I'm very serious, no matter what's going on in your life, whatever cyclone you caught up in, don't ever lose sight of that person that's there with you in the cyclone, in the storm with you. Don't ever lose sight of that person. And if you found somebody that will walk into that storm with you, keep them. Keep them. Because that's somebody that's committed and dedicated to you. If you have somebody in life that runs from your storm, let them go. But if they walk into that storm with you, or if they see you in the storm and they walk in that storm to join you, keep them. Because that person will be an anchor for you. And that's my speech today.
Oh, that's your thought for today. All right.
That's my thought for today.
All right. Well,
so date night is not dead.
Okay. Well, Lady K say date night is not dead. All right. Well, I believe the same thing. Date night is not dead, or should I say, it does not have to be dead. For some people, they probably are saying that their date nights are dead. But it does not have to be dead. It's not dead. It may be just standing still. It's not dead. I mean, because dead means there's no reviving, and so, or no possibility or chance for reviving. So it's not dead. I agree with you. It's just standing still, maybe for you, or for those that believe that it is. So. But it can be brought to the forefront and brought back to life. It's just all in how the two choose to bring about their relationship, and like you said, Lady K, communication. Because too many times we take things for granted. We just assume that is the other person is either thinking this way or going to be this way, or sometimes is that way, and And whenever you're not clear, and the only way you're gonna have clarity is to bring it out. I mean, that's only find out the facts. If a person, I mean, you can't assume what a person is thinking, and so nobody, because we easily say that nobody can assume what I think. Self thinks. How folks real quick. How you gonna put words in my mouth and I never said that? How you gonna assume that's what I was thinking and I never said nothing? Okay. So if you yourself can say that to somebody else, well then the reverse question is, how you gonna do that with somebody else? I tell you, society has come to a craziness these days, and if we're going to get our relationships back in order, and remember, we talk all kinds of relationships, because that applies to every kind of relationship and every type of relationship. And conversation is needed for any kind of relationship. I'm not just talking about couples. I mean, you name it, business, political, family. It goes on and on and on from A to Z. And including sex too. Get some clarity on that. All right. Yeah, get some clarity. I mean, yeah, it's okay to say what you expect out of for the turnout to be, because you go into it with some expectations.
You
I
sure
mean,
do.
you do.
You
You
sure
go
do.
into it with expectations. So why can't you say it?
Mhm.
All right. Good. I'm just saying. That's just Jay just saying. Okay. So, uh, so yeah, if you're going into relationships, it's really worthwhile to have that clarity. Yeah, say it's okay to say, somebody might say you're demanding and all that by just speaking, by just voicing and being clear. There's a difference being clear. There, you will know a demanding person with. I mean, you people we know what's a demanding person. But
Mhm.
there's a difference in having an understanding and clarity and not and then someone being demanding. It's good to have to be clear and have an understanding that going into a relationship, hey, if you start out, taking me out like all the time or every weekend and all that, I mean, is it going to be that way? 2 or 3 years down the line? I mean,
Mhm.
it's not. Be clear. If it's not that necessary, if you say it, hey, it's okay. I don't expect for you to take me out to some high class place all the time. I mean, it'd be nice, but if you start out that way and that's what you trying to throw on me, this is the kind of person this is your thing, I'm gonna be looking for it.
I know somebody right now
Mm-hmm,
that's
mm-hmm,
in a marriage,
mm-hmm,
and he wishes he had done things differently. He said that he created the monster
mm-hmm,
because when he was dating this person, he literally did everything for her. He literally did everything. She didn't have to do anything. He did everything. If she had to go to the store, he would take her, wait outside or wait inside, pick her up at the door. He literally did everything for her.
mm-hmm.
3 years later, they're married, and he's miserable because now when she says, "Oh well, we need trash bags," he's like, "Go to the store and get some." And she's like, "Well, can't you take me?" He created that monster, and he is miserable. And I'm like, why don't you just talk to her? And you know what he told me? He said, I tried. She doesn't listen. I said, have you ever really talked to her? He said, not really. Communication wasn't there.
Yeah. I
Communication wasn't there out the gate. Out the gate. And now he's married and he's miserable.
and I hear that, um, and I'm not saying this now, people. I'm not saying this to say anything about myself. I'm just talking, responding on what Lady K just said. But see, I'm the kind of person similar to that, because in my past marriage, I did I would cook. I cooked like 80% of the time. I took care of the kids. I even went shopping for feminine I had all girls. I had all girls, so I even went shopping for feminine. What do you call it? The products. You know, I knew what each one of them, the brand and the kind and everything. I knew
Oh,
all that.
wow.
So I mean, I wasn't ashamed. I was just being a father and a husband. All right. Now, however, now don't get it twisted. I also let them know just as the same as I would be willing to go and do that with no problem. Don't expect me to be the one to do this all the time. I don't have no problem going, but hey, don't expect me to be just doing this all the time because I know the real truth is I'm not going to always have the time to do it. Okay? So that's dealing with reality. Okay? I mean, yeah, I'm there for you. I'll do it. Yeah, I'll cook, but don't expect me to cook all the time. All right, you gonna have to get in the kitchen too. You know, all right. But if I got time, I don't have no problem jumping up in there. I don't have no problem taking care of the kid. But you be expect there's an expectation that you shouldn't have no problem either. Okay. All right. So that's where, like we said, conversation.
And there's always a sign.
Yeah.
And you know what's so crazy? He saw the sign
Mm-hmm.
and ignored them.
Mm-hmm.
And now he's married and miserable. And that's one spot, that's a tough spot to be in when you're married and miserable.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
You really don't like the person that you're married to.
Yeah.
You don't like them.
Yeah.
That's bad.
That's almost similar to the topic we had, married and still lonely. But we're going to have to do married and miserable. All right. All right. Well, this has been really been fun. And as we come to this close, all right, we look forward to y'all. Folks, y'all just remember that we're going to be changing some things, okay? Show will be changing here in the future to J and K Talks Today's Relationship Show. All right, and we're and be looking for us on the FM. So many things happening. Be looking for the books to be coming out. I
think I'm gonna write a book, Jay.
Go ahead, write a book. Write a book.
I think I'm gonna write a book.
Write a book. Yep, and anybody
you know what
listening.
I'm gonna call my book?
What's you gonna? What's you gonna call? What?
I'm gonna call my book Shoe Nail.
Shoe Nail.
Shoe Nail.
Oh, she-mail. Oh.
Yeah.
She-mail.
Shoe Nail. I'm gonna try to help some people. You know, from the Lady K perspective.
From the Lady K perspective, she-mail. Y'all heard it? Y'all heard it? She-mail. All right. From Lady K. All right.
Yes, sir.
All right. Boy, we're going to have to talk. All right. All right. Well, we're getting ready to close out in here and on another episode of the J Talks Today's Relationship Show. All right, it's been fun. Y'all join us next week as we be talking about Trashy or Classy.
Trashy or Classy. I can't wait.
Oh. All right. Well, I guess we're going to be out of here. All right. Love y'all.
Love y'all.
She